Do you ever feel like you spend more time drowning in emails and admin tasks than you do actually helping patients? Well, that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but listen, I've been there. But what if I told you there was a way that you could find a perfect person that can handle all of that for you so that you can focus on taking care of the people that you love, not all of that busy work. And that is through a virtual assistant. So today we are going to dive into how to find one, what kinds of things you can actually delegate to your virtual assistant, how to set them up for success so you can finally get rid of all that busy work and get back to doing what you love. So we've got some aha moments coming up. Let's go. Welcome to the Clinical Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm Rhonda, your no fluff, tell it like it is business bestie for wellness practitioners like you who want to build a practice you love and make a bigger impact and make a little money while you're at it. So if you're ready to ditch the overwhelm, attract your dream patients, and finally run your practice with confidence, you are absolutely in the right place. Each week, we're tackling things from programs to patient retention to marketing strategies that actually work, sprinkled with a little sass, a lot of heart, and the step-by-step strategies that will help you grow. So grab your cup of coffee, your notebook, or whatever keeps you going, and let's build a practice and a life that you've always wanted together. Today, what we are going to do is talk about how to better leverage your time using a VA. And I'm going to show you that it really, really can be done. The first thing that I want to talk about, though, is breaking the belief that you have to do it all, because this is the thing that kept me from hiring someone for a long time. I really, truly thought that no one was going to care about it as much as I did, and that I somehow had this magical power that I was the only one that knew how to do it right. Well, geez, I learned how to do it, quote, right. So why can't someone else learn how to do it right? It's such a limiting belief that we have about ourselves. And I think faith in humanity. Like, there is someone out there that can help you. And your time is absolutely, by far, hands down, your most valuable asset. And when you fritter that asset away on busy work, paperwork, paying the bills, opening an insurance bill, all the things that we have to do, you are not spending time making money. It equates to lost revenue and loss of patient impact or impact on the things that you do and the way that you serve your patients. Because again, your time is your most valuable asset. That's where you get to leverage your proprietary, intellectual, clinical knowledge to generate revenue. It should not be spent on all of these admin tasks. When you have a VA, and for clarification, I guess I should say what that is, stands for virtual assistant. And a virtual assistant, I'm talking about virtual tasks that we can delegate virtually, but it works the same in an office. The difference is, and then I'll get back to my outline, the difference is that when you have a VA, a virtual assistant, you often don't have to pay them quite as much as you would if you had an in-house employee. So an in-house employee, we're going to have to be taking out payroll taxes. There's usually benefits. The hourly rate might be a little bit higher, et cetera. And there may be some tasks that absolutely have to be done in office, like cleaning the office, getting the coffee ready or the water, snacks, or whatever it is that you're doing, flipping the rooms, cleaning the rooms. So there may be some that you do need a physical person in your office, but there's a lot of admin tasks, more than you think, that can be delegated to someone. That person does not need to be in your physical location. So when you bring in or hire a virtual assistant to help you, you have now freed up your time. And it's easy to delegate those things. We're going to talk about some ideas later, but you've freed up your time so you can see more patients, i.e., make a little more revenue, and you're going to have more time to spend with your family. You don't have to spend those 3 hours at the office while everybody's home eating dinner without you, because you'd have to get caught up. Now, you and I know the charting isn't going to go away. You can't delegate that to someone else. But the things you can delegate are the things that don't have to be you. In other words, must it be you or should it be someone else? Must it be you is the clinical piece. But if for should it be someone else, Oh, there's a long list of tasks that we can delegate. So by getting rid of those admin tasks, you just really have freed up your time to generate more revenue. In fact, a virtual assistant then doesn't become an expense. It's actually an investment in your sanity, your well-being, but also in the growth of your practice. Because think about this. If you hired a virtual assistant or you brought somebody in your office, how much time would that free up for you? Maybe you spend a total of, let's say it's an hour a day on random dumb things, stupid things that you're doing, administratively. You spend an hour a day on all of that. And it might even be like doing your own social media posts or whatever it is. If you spend an hour a day, and let's say we hired someone in the office and we're going to pay her $20 an hour. And then there's benefits in there. Let's round it up to 25 by the time all is said and done. With $25 an hour, it took you an hour. You were taking an hour to do all of the things, maybe even 2 hours worth of work. And she's so good, she can whip that stuff out in an hour because she's better than you. It's true. Other people are going to be better at managing and organizing administrative tasks, especially if that's what they love to do. Just like you and I love to help people. A virtual assistant or an in-office employee, when you hire the right person for that job, they are going to be so happy. It's like a kid in a candy shop. They're so happy to organize your life and get all the things all set and ready, put in their place, reminders, tasks, following up, all that stuff. They love it. I don't know about you, but I hate it. I'm not good at it at all. I forget stuff. I don't write stuff down. The other day I had a patient walk in the door here in my Seattle clinic. I forgot to put her in the calendar. She walked in. I had to act like I was so expecting her. I was like, well, hey, I'm so glad you're here. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, crap. What did I do? I forgot. And then I remembered, oh, yeah, she sent me a message, asked me if she could reschedule. I said, sure, that'll be no problem. And I just didn't do it. So I'm not good at this. This is why I know I need to leverage a VA. But think about how much time it would save me and angst, like that kind of situation, if I had just let somebody else handle it. Nothing would have been dropped because they love it and I don't. So when you leverage the power of a virtual assistant or an in-office person, you are going to get your time back. Now, that hour that you might have spent, or 2 hours, 5 hours a week, you could see one more patient and pay for her for half a month. Easy. It's not hard math, friend. This is not hard math. You hire someone and then you just see one more new patient and you've paid for them. So it's not that you can't afford it. I beg to disagree. I think you absolutely can afford it. In fact, you can't not do this. You need to do this. You need to hire this VA. So now let's talk about what the tasks are that they can do. Because you're probably thinking, oh, well, besides answering the phone, what else could it be? Well, I have a whole list of them here. I'm going to read through some of them. So as I mentioned, they can go through your email. Now, if you have a bunch of email that you don't want someone to see, which I don't know why you would, but emails they can sort through easily, like pick out the junk mails. If nothing else, delete all the junk mail and just leave the important stuff. Wouldn't that be great? In waking up and coming in to looking at your inbox, or at the end of the day, instead of having 100 emails, you only have 14. Doesn't that feel so good? Imagine that. To be the best. I only have 14 to look at, and then I can decide, do I want to respond to that, or can I delegate that to someone else to do? They can also help with all the calendaring, booking appointments, follow-up appointments, patient appointments, all that. They don't have to be in office to do that. You can hire a virtual assistant somewhere else that can do that. That's what I needed the other day. Oh, I'm the worst. Okay. Even billing and invoicing. Your virtual assistant can process credit cards. They can invoice the patient for the treatments that they got. They can process invoicing and place orders for supplements. It's a great thing for them to do. They can even order your inventory. Now, I'm not advocating that you just do a carte blanche where you say, oh, well, here's the login to my standard process account or my doctor's research, and please just order whatever you think I need. Of course, they're not going to do that. But you have some parameters, you've got some guidelines, right? You say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is how we know we're going to run a report. And when these quantities get to this level, then you're going to place an order once a week. You have to set the system up. Yes, you know it in your head, but if you know it in your head, you can put it on paper. And there's also ChatGPT, which is a huge help. Other tasks can include social media. So marketing tasks, social media, things like posting social posts or creating graphics. I don't do that well at all, but I would love it if someone helped me with that, right? If I've got someone on my team that's helping me create graphics, create social posts, I can go in, make the tweaks, look at it, approve it, but it takes me 1/10 of the time that it would otherwise. What about like scheduling the posts and writing the captions and even responding to people that comment on posts online? I don't have time to do that. I don't want to do that. But what I have a team for, I have someone that's basically dedicated and I've delegated that task to her, and that's what she does. So she'll message me and say, hey, you've got a message on Instagram. I'm happy to respond for you. How would you like me to answer this question? And I can do that, or I can just jump in and do it myself, but that's up to me. But I have someone that's helping me because those are the things that fall through the cracks. You can also have them respond to your online reviews. Google loves it when you respond within a really short period of time, preferably 24 hours. When you respond to a Google review, it shows that you as the business owner are engaged. Now, there's rules around how you can respond. You have to respond in the third person, kind of like, gosh, so happy to hear that your headaches are gone. We love it when people feel better. Very, very neutral, like you don't know the person. But you can write up some scripts for that, ask ChatGPT to help you, but you can write up the scripts for that and then give that to a virtual assistant. And whenever a review comes in, they just can respond right on your behalf with approved scripts that you've given them. What about answering like emails or creating an FAQ document for your practice? Do you have an FAQ on your website? If not, you should, because people want to know. They have certain questions that they'll ask you, and you know because they ask you all the time. And so you could have them do that. You could also have them follow up on any new patient leads or inquiries that have come through. You know, how can I help you? Certainly this takes some time. You're going to have to do some training, but you're going to have to do that anyway. If you're going to grow your practice, you can't do it by yourself forever. Some people are okay having a part-time practice, in which case they have that extra time to be able to do some of the admin things. And I know doctors in Clinical Business Academy, and they still are solopreneurs, and they love it, and they don't want to do anything else. They want to do it by themselves. But I'm telling you, friend, if you're going to grow, you want to be thinking, how can I create the system for invoicing? How can I create a system for social media? How can I create like a process, like a checklist, a to-do list that I actually could delegate to someone? Think about if you had a young college student in your town and the college student was just looking for some part-time work. You might say, oh, well, that's great. I love the help. So how would you set that college student up for success? You would write out the responsibilities that you want them to do. These are the action steps that you're going to take. It's the exact same thing with a virtual assistant. Same thing. So we just create the process, the system, the checklist, and that sets them up to be super, super successful. They can book your travel if you're going to go anywhere. They can schedule outside appointments even, like doctor's appointments or haircuts or things that have to do with your kids. You can use them for all kinds of things. It doesn't just have to be business related. So if you are doing any of these tasks that we just talked about, you absolutely can use a virtual assistant or someone to help you handle them, and they'll probably do it a lot better. So now let's talk about where do we find them? Well, virtual assistants can easily be found on online platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, onlinejobs.ph. That's in the Philippines. You have to filter through them. I think there's a $50 fee you pay up front to kind of, go through the resumes and see if you can find one. I've had hit or miss with that because anybody can be on there, kind of like Upwork. I do like Upwork. That's the one that I use the most. And the reason I do is because I can really review their profiles nicely. And then if I have someone that I'm interested in, I think, this person might be really good, I can correspond with them directly and I can send them a test project, which I really recommend doing. Pay them for the test project, but you want to see how well they do. Another place that you can look is just ask around other practitioners. Who else is using a virtual assistant, and how do they like them? How does it work? Just ask. There's also VA Facebook groups. So in these Facebook groups, there are virtual assistants that are looking for work. So you can always find them online, like on Facebook. Let's see. How do you hire the right one? Let's talk about that for a minute. The most important thing, I think, is to make sure that you have a very clear description of the task. So describe the task. The goal of this task is X, and then describe the how. And then you might want to put in what your expectations are. I expect this to come back in this format within 5 days of delivery. And these are the tools that you're going to need. Like you're going to need Asana and Canva and Google Drive. Okay, fine. So you put it all in there. And then when you have it all in there and you give that to the virtual assistant, you can see how well they do. So this same format works when you're going to do a test project with a virtual assistant. So you can give them all of the description. Just pick one thing. It'll give you good practice, right? So you practice writing out that description of the job. Give it to the virtual assistant, maybe someone you want to trial. Don't give them something too hard, but something you feel that they're qualified to do, and then see how they do. Wait until it comes back and then grade or rate that project. How well did they follow your instructions? You want to make sure that they're matching your communication style, that they communicate well, etc. Things that you want to watch for, though, are things like poor communication. Waiting a long time to get back to you. Well, that would be poor response time, I guess, even in an email. But what you want to look at, did they overpromise and underdeliver? Oh, yes, I can do that. And then the quality of the work you got back is really crummy. Also, watch for lack of attention to detail. So if there's spelling errors, grammatical errors, they're just not paying attention. That's a hard no for me. Absolutely no. And I also want them to have a little bit of a problem-solving mind. I want them to take some initiative to see if they can solve a problem if it comes up. So sometimes in the test project, I'll leave a detail or two out just to see if they kind of pick that up and incorporate it without being told, because it makes logical sense. Does that make sense? Did you follow me on that? Anyway, all right. So we want to make sure that whoever you hire, that they really are set up to thrive. So the way that you want to do that is use Loom. We've talked about this before, but Loom is a way you can screen record either yourself or a task online on your computer, and you can actually show them, click, click, do this, then do this, then do this, click, 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 and then give them that Loom video. That becomes their training video. It's real simple. If you can do it, they can do it, right? Really easy. You may want to use task manager or project manager like Asana or Trello or something like that. And then for communication, if you happen to have a virtual assistant that's overseas, you can use things like Voxer or Slack or Zoom or WhatsApp. Any of those, communication tools will work. It's a great way to be able to communicate back and forth. And then sharing your files, Google is obviously an easy way to do it. Google Drive. Another one that we like is Dropbox. That's the one that we use. But there's another one called Box that you can use. So those are the tools that you're going to need as you work with this virtual assistant. And then you want to make sure that you're checking in with them regularly. Don't just leave the task and say, okay, good luck. At least at first, you want to be asking questions like, how are you doing? How is this going? Are you feeling confident? Is there anything else that I can do to help you as you work through this task or project? Because you want them to feel supported, like you're in their corner. You're not setting them up to fail. We want to set them up to win. So when you can get good work out of your VA and you pay them, let's say $15 to $20 an hour, and it's going to free you up for 5, maybe 10 hours a week, you just bought yourself a whole bunch of time to be able to see more people, or even better, work on your business, because that's the thing that we often neglect. I get busy too, and I don't spend time working on the things on the business, working on ways that I can better support my team, or what kind of goals and objectives are we going to have this year, or how to course correct when we're going to pivot. We need to do something a little bit differently. I get so bogged down sometimes in the day-to-day that I forget that I need to delegate this. And I have to say, like, kudos to my team, because they're always saying, how can we help you? How can we make this easier for you? I'm the one that sometimes just says, oh, that's all right, I'll just do it myself. That's a habit we have to get out of. We have to get out of it. I know one practitioner who used a VA, and the pain point for him in his business was he couldn't get back to people in a timely manner. The call would come in for a new patient, a solo practitioner, and sometimes it would be a day or two before he had time to call them back. And then people were wanting to reschedule. And then he wasn't getting the emails and didn't have time to check, et cetera, et cetera. And so he said, I've got to figure this out. And I said, well, let's just find a virtual assistant that just handles that. That's all. The phone and the scheduling. You don't even delegate anything else. No bill paying, none of that. Just the phones and anything that has to do with patient correspondence. He did that, and within 30 days, he had a 40% increase in his patient follow-up appointments. 40%! That is significant. And it was just because he recognized the pain point in his business and said, I need to hire someone to help me with just that. Well, because the VA did such a great job, he asked her to do other things. And so last I knew, he had delegated a lot of work to her, and he feels like he can go home at night and he's free. He checks in with his VA at the beginning of the week and the end of the week, and he's got all of those tasks that he's delegated out to her. She knows exactly what to do. The results are consistent. And he goes home at night, his charts are done, his desk is clean, and someone else is handling all of that. It's genius. It's just given him his life back, which is wonderful. So now, that was a lot. You guys still hanging with me? It was a lot. So here's what I want you to take away. Remember that your time is absolutely your most valuable asset, hands down. So hiring a VA isn't just about like shuttling things off of your plate. It's about giving you the freedom, time freedom, money freedom, because you can generate more revenue. And then ultimately, you're going to have a greater impact on the people that you serve in your practice. So my challenge to you is start a list. And this is hard. I know this is hard for some people, but start a list, a delegation list. And for all of the tasks that you find yourself doing, but you just groan when you do them, like, oh, I don't want to do this. Write that down in the delegation list. The only thing you can't put in there is creating protocols, chart notes, seeing patients. I hope you're not groaning when you say that. The things that have to be you. But you need to start a delegation list. So I would say, like today, somewhere in the notes on your phone or on a piece of paper in your journal, write down 3 things that you know that you could delegate. Just write down 3 things and try and choose the things that are causing you a little bit of discomfort. Like my friend who had all this big mess at the front desk with, returning patient phone calls, reschedules, et cetera. So try and write down 3 things that are causing you significant amount of pain. Then write down the characteristics that you want in a VA. How would you describe that person? If you can close your eyes and just imagine what that person would be like. Would it be a he or a she? Would they have these skills versus those skills, communication skills, all the things that you think that VA needs to have? I want you to write it down, because when we write it down, we put energy to that, and we are far more likely to attract that person. So write that down. What does that VA look like? And then you've now got your list of tasks, which I'm sure you're going to keep adding to. And then once you have an idea about the type of VA that you want, maybe just take your little computer on a spin on over to Upwork and see what you can find on Upwork. Just type in virtual assistant. You can even type in, you're looking for a virtual assistant for a wellness practitioner or alternative medicine or something like that. I wouldn't put healthcare because you'll get like doctors and dentists and that kind of thing. So you could just search that, see what you come up with. There'll be literally thousands of them. So don't get overwhelmed. Just start reading through them and see if you can find one that just kind of jumps out at you and you think, oh, I kind of like this. I think I'm good. In Upwork, you can heart them. So you can just put a little heart on them. And when you do, it'll open up and say, would you like to create a new, like a list, I think they call it, or something, or a job, potential job or something like that. And just put virtual assistant for me. And then all of your saves will go into that little folder, so to speak. So you're kind of cruising through, and you get tired or you go home and, that 3 or 4 days later, you get back to it. You're going to go through and you're going to pick a few more. Pretty soon you'll have 10 or 12 that you've selected that you kind of like. You go, okay. Then you're going to go back through those and you'll read them again. And you'll be like, nope, I don't like you. And then you'll get down where there might be 3 or 4. And those are the 3 or 4 that you can create a test project for, just like we talked about. So you're going to write down the description of the project and then give them the instructions and then see what they come back with. So it's so easy to do. You can pay them for an hour. It's not going to break the bank, but you'll be able to see whether or not this is going to be a good fit for you and for your business. So this is what I want to leave you with today, my friends. You do not have to do this practice thing alone. The smartest business owners, the best business owners, and the best practitioners know how to delegate, because when you can delegate, it allows you the freedom to focus on the things that you do best. So if you've been drowning in all that admin work, this is your permission slip to go hire a virtual assistant. I promise it will absolutely change your life. Well, friends, thanks for listening. That was a fun episode for me. I love talking about all kinds of things that have to do with helping you be able to grow your business, grow the business side. And I also love helping you save time and be able to leverage your time to make more money. So thanks for listening. I'll be back next week on the Clinical Entrepreneur Podcast. I hope you have an awesome week. Much love. Talk to you then.